Hey, welcome. It's New York City, the shadow of the Freedom Tower, the place just next to the most historic cemetery in North America, and across the street from the 9/11 Memorial and Museum now, Kevin McCullough, and AFA Today on AFR Talk. Always glad to have you with us. My phone number is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840, and Kevin McCullough is my name. So much to talk about today, and there just seems to be layer after layer of incredulousness being pumped into the news, and I hope that we as a nation use this moment as we are in the run up to the 2014 Senate elections. Senate. There's lots of other people running as well, but the Senate is what everybody's watching, and I hope that we actually use this little peek into who we are, into what life is about, to actually learn something and to create, a different path forward than where we have decidedly been camping out for the last 6 years. Kev, you're talking in vague generalities. I don't mean to. It's just when I see the video of the release of the traitor, when I think of the fact that we now know this guy's name all over the globe, all over the world, we know what his father looks like. We know all the things about his feelings towards America and why he hated him. But we don't know the names of Clayton Bowen or Morris Walker or Kurt Curtis or Darren Andrews or Michael Murphy or Matthew Martinick. Those are 6 men who, when Bo Bergdahl went wandering, went to look for him and did not come home. I wish that we knew their names and stories as well as we know his. And it bothers me tremendously at how the president, I don't know if it was preening or posturing or whatever it was, but on Saturday to do the Rose Garden ceremony, and to one of two things, either know so little about what we were doing that he did not see that the potential for this feedback was coming, or worse yet, to know it in detail and to decide to do it anyway, anticipating that the American people wouldn't care or wouldn't say anything about it. What has been really obvious to me in the last 48, 72 hours is that the American people do know, they are paying attention, and they do care. I've been rather amazed even at the degree that the mainstream media has actually been somewhat responsible in asking questions that I never thought they would ask. It's a bad sign for this White House if he gets people like
Did the president break the
like Wolf Blitzer and some other guys against him? In fact, let me just play you a handful of some of this. This is CNN, Wolf Blitzer, Andrea Mitchell, a handful of others, but just a few of them here.
Did the president break the law by engaging in this deal?
Oh, I think he clearly broke the law.
You believe the president broke the law?
Absolutely.
Does the president feel as though on this issue and this kind of issue he's above the law?
But I think what bothers people is having our commander-in-chief on television putting a glow of euphoria around the return of this guy.
One guy saying, I'm...
Okay, so from what I just played for you there, those 6 clips, not a single one of those was from Fox News. You had others that went on to say other things, and I could play a whole 3 or 4 minutes worth of these things. This is not just the right wing of America and the conservative portion of America that are disappointed in what's happened here. On the Facebook page, I have posted a picture of those 6 gentlemen whose names I read at the beginning of this. Clayton Bowen, Morris Walker, Kurt Curtis, Darren Andrews, Michael McMurphy, and Matthew Martinek. Before we traded 5 terrorists for Bo Bergdahl, we sacrificed 6 lives for him. There's been some low moments in my short span, 30 years in journalism and broadcasting. There's been some low moments. I've never felt what I'm feeling now. I've never felt like the American people have felt what they are feeling now. That this is beyond. Well, it's one of 2 things, and I'm not for sure what it is. So maybe you can illuminate me. But I read several editorials today. In fact, I have one here from Jim Garrity at National Review. Yeah. Okay, this is from his morning email. The National Review Online. Jim Garrity, the guy that mans the Morning Jolt desk. But he says, the revelations of the ever-worsening Bergdahl deal tell us that 2 of our early impressions have been confirmed by subsequent events. Impression 1, Obama has mentally checked out of his presidency. In light of everything that we've learned about Bergdahl in the past few days, we have to consider 2 possibilities. One is that Obama knew that Bergdahl opposed the U.S. mission, told his father he was ashamed to be an American, renounced his citizenship, that other soldiers lost their lives because of that decision, and that he may have been helping the Taliban in building bombs, and Obama went ahead with it anyway. Or the other possibility is that Obama didn't know any of this, and he approved the deal and invited Bergdahl's parents to the White House, poorly briefed, ill-informed. And he says, of course, this wouldn't be the first time. He says Obama has been called disengaged on matters of war, or the first time someone suggested the White House officials have not been reading their briefing books. In a long, detailed profile piece, Politico painting a picture today of a president increasingly ready to wrap it up and move on to post-presidential life. With his daughters around less, the Obamas are taking fuller advantage of the prerequisites of the office, such as squeezing in a Broadway show, A Raisin in the Sun, into a recent Manhattan fundraising trip. In a departure from a long practice of keeping his personal circle strikingly tight and rarely lingering at official events, this president has been hosting star-studded dinners that sometimes go on well past midnight and inviting a few newcomers, such as former NBA star Alonzo Mourning, into his social sphere. He's also played more golf in 2014 than any other year, and he was playing record amounts of golf more through his other 5 years of the presidency thus far. The presidential dinners inside the White House and beyond are more and more frequent. At one dinner, not previously disclosed, the Obamas hosted U2's Bono, General Colin Powell, Apple CEO Tim Cook, investor Warren Buffett, World Bank President Jim Yong Kim. Another drew actors Will Smith and Samuel L. Jackson, along with journalist Gayle King. Anna Wintour, the editor of Vogue, attended dinner with fashion industry insiders. None of these guests appear on the public visitor logs because they are considered purely personal visits. In other words, no business, no work, nothing being done official. Multiple White House aides claimed not to know about them. Valerie Jarrett, the senior advisor and longtime confidant of the Obamas who organizes the dinners, appears to be the only regular from the West Wing. You can go on, friends. The vacations, he's traveled more in the first half of 2014 than he has at any other time of his presidency. As Ukraine escalated in March, White House aides turned to a less consequential matter. Should he travel to Florida for a planned weekend golf getaway? I mean, that's problematic enough. Anybody that's on duty that is being is held responsible for the welfare of the country, checking out, getting senioritis is not allowed, and you're not even in your senior year. I mean, technically, this is like sophomore year. And then you've got people like Susan Rice, who I don't understand, went out and told the world that Mr. Bergdahl was someone who served with honor and distinction. I don't understand what that is supposed to mean, unless she's just purely making something up, because obviously no one in the military felt that way about him. And then you actually had Chuck Hagel, the Secretary of Defense, yesterday in a back and forth with reporters say, I am not aware of any lives lost due to the searching for Mr. Bergdahl. Has he had his eyes closed? Have they not been on not just Fox News, but on CNN and MSNBC and C-SPAN? In New York, they're running stories on the local channels about it. And I don't, senioritis and being checked out or purposefully wanting to take us there? He was forced to admit, the president was forced to admit yesterday that it's a real possibility that the guys that we let go will return to fight against America again. Wasn't the lesson of 9/11 not to put those guys back into position to be able to do that against us? I'm not following. And the president said, I wouldn't have released them if I thought there was a danger to America. I'm not following. Forget the idea that they're even trying to be truthful. I'm not following the logic of how they expect these answers to hold up. And then we have Ted Cruz telling us what a listener tried to tell me yesterday to Megyn Kelly last night, and that is that there are 42, yesterday it was only 23 when the listener called, but now there are 42 senators, ironically all of one party, that are literally attempting to gut the First Amendment from the Bill of Rights. At 23 senators, you're like, is it just a minority faction within the party? What? Now they're at 42. And I'll give you some detail about what it is that they're wanting to do. But, friends, basically they want to empower the president and the federal government to be able to say what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And if you look at the convergence of the desire to control speech with the absolute reckless regard for any accountability of expectation of being held accountable, combined with the constant pursuit of the social change of America, is it inconceivable to think that hate crime laws and people that speak differently than what the administration wants them to will be criminally punished and put into prison? Friends, where did our country go when we were all sleeping last night? 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. I'm Kevin McCullough. I'm glad you're with us. Let's talk. 888-589-8840. It's AFA Today on AFR Talk.